In another dramatic day in court at the Senzo Meyiwa trial, the third witness for the state taking the stand, Tumelo Madlala, was a close friend of the late soccer star Senzo Meyiwa. He says he attempted to fight off intruders on the night he was killed. The case is adjourned until tomorrow. eNCA reporter Silindelo Masikane keeping a close eye on that trial, joining us now for the latest. Slee, we have to start, good afternoon to you, with what happened before court actually got underway. And this led to a ban of eNCA, Newsroom and SABC. So the first part was unable to be broadcast. We know that the media houses have all apologized, but it amounts really to the third witness, this friend of Senzo Meyiwa, pretty much being hounded by the media. So you're going to have to be really objective here and tell us what went wrong and important lessons learned around this issue.
Yeah, I think in terms of the chaos of this morning, the court was quite disappointed and frustrated at what transpired before Tumelo Madlala could actually take the stand. And of course, as media houses and the TV broadcasters, in particular the journalists, we have apologized for it. We were all waiting and anticipating his arrival just before 10 a.m. this morning. And when we arrived, it was a bit of a scuffle to try and speak to him or get him to say something, get the visuals of him arriving, and it just really descended into chaos and was completely unnecessary. And I think that is why we took it upon ourselves to apologize and wrote to the court, in fact, to say that it would never happen again. But of course, I think just as a lesson and to drive their point across, the court then decided that we would not be able to be allowed back into the courtroom for today because apparently Tumelo felt quite intimidated and harassed. So the court then made a decision to not allow us back in for today, but of course we will resume tomorrow with the understanding that what took place today won't happen again.
All right. I have to just say one thing in your defense, and that is that I did wonder when I saw this where the NPA was, because it was a witness for the state. How was this man not being escorted by bodyguards? How is this normal?
From what we understood, this is quite a critical and crucial witness for the state. In fact, I was expecting quite a heavy police presence around him for his arrival. I understood that there's been communication around intelligence to ensure his safety. So it was quite peculiar to just see him arriving with what looked like just one police officer by his side. But, you know, I don't want to excuse our behavior. It was totally unacceptable. And I think we accept that. And we do apologize to our viewers for not giving them that coverage in the beginning of the morning when that testimony began. But by the time it was lunchtime, we were certainly getting to what we want to know in terms of what happened in the house.
And of course, Tumelo Madlala, who's a close friend of Senzo from his days as a child, I understand, based in the Durban area. He spoke about what happened before that shot went off. Just cue up that clip that you've got for us.
So after lunch, we started hearing more details around what happened in the house. Sadly, we know that Tumelo Madlala was picked up by Senzo and Kelly on that day, and they bought some alcohol. They met up with Zandi Khumalo as well. Longwe Twala joined them a bit later. Senzo as well as Kelly were with Tumelo and Togo, as well as, like I said, Zandi and Longwe in the house, as well as Gladys Khumalo, as we know, that is Ma Khumalo, Kelly Khumalo's mother. He has described exactly how the intruders came in through the kitchen door, describing the first intruder as somebody who had dreadlocks, who was short in stature, had big eyes, was wearing a hat and spoke isiZulu but couldn't tell us anything more than that, saying that the second intruder was a little bit taller, and that in fact there was a scuffle between Senzo and the second intruder, resulting in a gunshot, and that is when Tumelo proceeded to go seek refuge in the bedroom. Let's take a listen.
because bembambe ngixile ufike ngishaya nami kulo muntu lo ne
Okay.
ngishaya ngisibhakela.
Okay, upon arriving, when I got there and I saw Senzo pressing this person against the wall, then when I got there, I hit him with a fist. I think it's Bagela.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, ma.
Where did you hit him?
Umshaya kuphi nendawo?
Ngamshaya.
Awujike.
Ngamshaya.
Imayibamba ujaji azokubona ujike uzongenzela ujaji ukuthi abone.
Yes.
The witness pointing to the left side of the face. Is ujike ujaji akabona the left side of the face, mother.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Then after lokho njalo umuntu esenza impresela ngimshaya kwaqhuma isibhamu.
Thereafter, whilst this person was there, held by Senzo against the wall, and I hit the person with a fist, that's when a shot went off.
Did we get any clues today about what happened after that shot went off or in the process of that scuffle? For example, we understand that Longwe Twala was able to push his way out of the house. Do we know how long it took him to call the police, for example? I know that you've spoken to a legal expert to give his sort of assessment on what he saw play out and some of the anomalies. Just talk us through that.
Unfortunately not. We're still at the stage where Tumelo Madlala is explaining exactly what transpired after the gunshot. He says that after seeking refuge in the bedroom, Mtogo then proceeded to open the door for him using a spoon, and that when he came out, he could hear Kelly Kumalo, her mother, and Zandi wailing, calling out Senzo's name, and he then noticed that Senzo was lying in between the TV stand and the sofa. And we're assuming that once that gunshot, of course, went off, that is where Senzo Meyiwa then fell. But we're still waiting or expecting to hear more details around what happened, because, in fact, at that point, when Tumelo was describing Senzo's state after he left the bedroom, he was beginning to be quite emotional, trembling in his voice. He sounded like he was crying. And so, the state then asked that we adjourn a bit earlier than 3 o'clock, just to allow him to compose himself, and then we resume tomorrow morning. And as you've said, we spoke to a legal expert with regards to his demeanor in court, what we're hearing, because of course we can't see Tumelo, but we can hear him in terms of the visuals that are being fed to the public. So let's just take a listen to Mr. Alton Hart with regards to what he's picking up in Tumelo Madlala's testimony.
One will look at the demeanor of the witness when a witness testifies in the witness box. You look at, and the demeanor will tell you, is this witness truthful or what? And this can be one of two things here. Either he's playing a very good role, he's been coached very well, or he's really, truly remorseful and he's telling the truth. That is the two sides of this coin. But one will only see the true colors of what is really happening after the cross-examination commences. Because for me, this morning there was also an instance where the media got kicked out of the courtroom to say that the media are traumatizing the witness. But this witness was already in the media on Netflix, and it didn't look traumatized to me. So now to see another media house just now asking you questions similar to the questions that you said so comfortably and answering, for me, it makes something shaky about this witness, and it looks to me that he's a little bit coached in his story.
So we're still going to hear more from the close friend of Senzo Meyiwa tomorrow in court. And thank you very much for wrapping all that up for us today. A really important day. We are starting to get to the heart of what actually happened that night from the people who were in the house. Thank you so much. That is our reporter in Pretoria, Silindelo Masikane. Now,